Topher James, how's it going? Happy Monday. I've had a few people kind of hit me up and just kind of ask me questions generally about the golf swing. And I guess I've never really broke down my thoughts and opinions on the golf swing. So we're going to do that today. We're here at Alpine on practice at hole 11, which is actually a good, it's a good shoot to practice through. Plus, it's free with the game. So if you want to practice, you can practice. So a couple of things here. I'm going to turn everything stock on my driver, but I will say I'm playing with an attachment. I'm on Quest 3, and the hardest, I'll be honest with you, a couple days ago I was screwing around with a controller, and the fact that people are so good on a controller is just ridiculous because the weight of a controller and just, I don't know. If you're getting into the game, choose a controller, choose the attachment, and just stick with it because bouncing back and forth is just ridiculous. So in this case, I'm going to go with the attachment. I'm using Quest 3 Virtual Printality Adapter attachment, whatever you want to call it. And so we're going to go through a few things, and I'm going to try to remember. And I'll probably do a driver and like an iron too. Okay. So a couple of things I want to say up front. There's two major things you need to focus on, at least in Golf Plus. One is the angle of the face through impact. So if I'm looking through my left lens that I'm recording, whatever it is through impact, that's where the ball's going to go. And then the other thing is your swing plane. When I say swing plane, I imagine if you go on YouTube and you watch, the breakdown of the swing, they're talking about the huge arc, the huge circle, whatever it is. It's your plane. So obviously you want it to go straight with the target that you're aiming. If you come over the top, then you can, mess it up that way. If you go inside out, which is bringing it down here and up, then you can mess it up that way. In order to understand how your plane really affects your shot, especially if you've never golfed before or if you're new to golf, Google the controller for Golden Tee, or if you're at a bar by any chance watching this, which would be weird. On the controller, Golden Tee has the little ball, and it has like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. And it basically tells you if you, hit it that way with an open face, it's going to fade. If you hit it this way with a closed face, it's going to draw. And then obviously if you hit it straight, it's going to go straight. But it tells you basically like what's going to hook, what's going to draw, what's going to fade, what's going to slice, different things like that. Well, I'll cover it more in depth. All right. So how I would swing is my biggest thing when I used to golf, is focus on my takeaway. So my takeaway would always be out. So I would make sure that would be my first move. And then when I swing out, I want to make sure that you can't see it, but my arms are holding it at probably like a 60-degree angle. And then the club face is up like that. I don't want it in line with the ball. I don't want it to be like really weird. I just want to go out. I have full extension of my arms. I want the club face up. And then I come back up to here. And preferably, I want to keep my right elbow in. But it's kind of hard to do with a golf attachment or a controller because it's not a real club. So if anything, I would focus on those first two things. And then bring it up here. You can do a Jim Furyk. You can do a John Daly. Whatever it is. And it's important to think about how far you want to bring it back. Because, like in real life, it's kind of like a power meter. So, like, 50 yards, 100 yards, 250 yards, 300 yards. That's just, me just kind of giving you an idea that the further you go back, the further you'll hit it. So, all right. So, go out, club face up. Go back to how much you want it to. You can do a short Tony Finau swing, whatever it is. Now, when you get to the top of your swing, I want you to keep your inside elbow in. So if you're right-handed, keep your right elbow in. And basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to swing it inside out. Preferably, you want to kind of get it in a line as much as you can. But whatever you do, do not chicken wing, meaning your right elbow is like right here and it's like a foot away from your body. So keep your right elbow in through impact, and then make sure you swing, like you release your wrists after the ball. You don't want to like release before the ball because you're, one, not going to hit it straight, and two, you're going to lose all your distance. So right elbow in. And right now, if you were to see my left arm, I'm not going to webcam this. That was a one-time only deal. If you really want to understand how this works, just YouTube Rory McIlroy or, Schauffele or someone. But what I'm going to focus in is my right arm, my right elbow is on my body. And then I got a 90-degree angle about right here. And then as I'm getting into this area, my waist is starting, like, if this was my belly button, now I'm starting to open up to my target, and that's helping rotate the club through the ball through impact. Release about right here in this area somewhere. So when I say release, roll your wrist through and bring it up, and make sure you don't follow through like a baseball swing, like you're trying to hit into left field. I want to see a high follow through. How was that for a breakthrough? Did we go through it too fast? Well, guess what? You're watching this on YouTube. Just rewind it and stop it. All right. So that's basically the swing part of it. But wait, there's more. How do I address it? Well, at least on my driver, my left foot's about right here, and the ball's right here. My right foot's about right here. It's hard to do with the VR because we can't see our feet. And a lot of times, like the first hole or the first couple holes, I will be lined up really well. But as I get comfortable and as I'm going through my round, I will catch myself having an open swing. And when you're trying to do everything, basically your body's going to force everything to the left. And everyone's going to be like, well, why am I pulling left? Well, check your stance. So if you really focus on where your feet are, if not, put your controller or your attachment on your belt buckle and kind of get an idea of where you're aiming. If you really are having a hard time with where you're aiming, what I like to do is put both elbows on my stomach and do a little waggle, but not a wrist waggle. Like I got my arms locked and I'm just kind of seeing where I'm aiming. So right now, it's kind of aiming left. Gives me an idea. So that's how I do my stance. And then the grip. The grip is, I was talking to someone in Discord and I was like, well, you use a controller or an attachment. And then I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, please don't question why I'm asking that. Because if you're using a controller, your grip is automatically locked in, basically. If you're using an attachment, you could have a regular grip, you could have a weak grip, you could have a hard grip, but it's basically, Google it. Google the difference between a weak and a hard grip. And that will kind of give you an idea of how to put your hands on the club. It makes such a difference, trust me. And just kind of feel what's comfortable. All right, cool. So I got a grip. It's usually a firm grip, whatever. Ball's left on my feet, and let's give this a swing. All right. So I pulled that way left. I'm gonna say what I did there was stop. All right. I'm going to say what I did there was I came over the top a little bit. So we're going to take a look here. All right. So Can we like? All right, cool. So as I'm seriously, I like to do a waggle before I hit. I don't know why. All right, come on, 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 come on. All right, let's go back down. All right. So I did swing out. Not as much as I would want to, but I did swing out. Now my club face wasn't as straight up in the air as I'd like to, like perpendicular to the ground. Short swing because it's not real golf. I did tuck my elbow in on that one. And it looks like... Can't tell if I was aiming that way. Oh, I was... Okay. I kind of look like I released my wrist a little too early on that one. Or I might have been aiming that way from when I was doing that waggle. I can tell I was aiming towards the left side of the fairway. Let me try again. All right. I'm going to aim. So you see that sand bunker right at the indicator? I'm going to aim there. And then I hit where I aimed with a little bit of a fade. Now, how I faded it is because with the attachment, and it's such a lighter weight than the actual golf club. So as I was coming down, I was racing the golf club to try to... My hands were too far in front of the golf club. So I couldn't, like, my body wasn't open enough in time. I couldn't get the turn on it. So that created that little bit of a fade. And maybe quite a little bit of a push. All right, let's take a look here. All right, go, 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 go. I think that was a better takeaway that time. See, I don't like that. I need to fix that because I need more wrist roll to open that up. But more importantly, see, I like that little drop that I'm doing because it means that I'm sinking into my right elbow. You definitely don't want it to be, I mean, if I use my controller in my line, like I definitely don't want it to be here. Here is better. So dropping it, dropping it, dropping it. Oh yeah, I held that much better as far as releasing. Okay. I might have been aiming there, but I think that was pretty good. I hate that I do that too. That I'm not doing a high follow through. That's more of a baseball swing. And then I'm like, oh, wait. Put it up in the air. All right, cool. So that kind of gives you an idea. I mean, that's still very minimal. So people who are like, okay, more common thing is because, you know, a lot of us used to play baseball and things like that. What we do is when we chicken wing it, so meaning the club would be coming down about out here, and you hit it left. So I'm going to try to recreate that. So in my mind, I'm aiming down that way. And that was just a straight pull. So let's see how bad that was. Hello, Avatar. I'm calling my shot. All right. Yeah, see, I'm not doing well on that. That's really bothering me. All right, so I take it back and paying attention. So I bring the club down, but really it's my wrist because I don't think my elbow really sunk in because I purposely exaggerated trying to, kind of chicken wing it. But watch my club face right here. Can I not laser that? A little bit of a laser. So it's here, right before impact. So the only thing I can do in order to hit the ball is to basically swing down on it. So this little area right here. So club is right here, and then it was right here. That is a no-no. That is a no-no because it's just gonna pull it left of where you're aiming. And the only thing I can think of is that's a straight pull that I'm doing. If I were to actually hit the ball with that angle, then that would have been a pull hook. If I would have hit it with that angle, then that would be a pull fade. And pull fades you can actually get away with, but unless you can't fix your swing, I wouldn't do it. So straight up pulled it. I exaggerated that because I wanted to pull it. So that's why when you YouTube golf swings and things like that, people are like, do not go over the top, because the only thing you can really do is just aim way left and then just play your over the top. If you didn't care to fix your swing. But other than that, if people are like, why is it drawing? Why am I pulling left? Well, a couple things. You're going over the top. You're getting lazy and you think you're aiming that way, but you're actually aiming that way. And then of course, the club face could be closed, but everything is just pointing to go left. So when you're golfing, take your time, and if you feel your right elbow coming out and you're pulling it, then keep your right elbow in. Other thing too is when you're golfing, normally you want your upper body to be behind the ball. When you're let's say I'm about ready to hit the ball, you don't want it to be here, at least not on your driver. And then, you don't want to lean into it either, because now you're just guiding your club face to be closed. So at least with your driver, you want to be behind the ball. So you want to be like that. And basically what it's doing is, one, with your driver, you want to swing up. So if you do the stats, you want to see the attack angle, and anything 0 or negative means you're coming down on the ball. So if you want to know why you're hitting low, so that means that I hit down on the ball. You want to do that with your wedge, but you don't want to do that with your driver. That's a negative 0.5. So you're going to hit it low. You want to hit it up. And to help you do that, if I'm holding this straight up, I want to be behind the ball with the upper part of my body. It's going to help promote you to keep your right elbow in. It's going to help you go up. It's going to help you, if you're opening your body, keep your face towards your target. Different things like that. The only problem is now we get to talk about pushing and fading and slicing. I think coming over the top and drawing and that is just easier in VR golf because of the controller or the attachment situation and the weight and not being able to see your feet. So now let's talk about how can you fade. So the fade, so I have an inside out swing, which is naturally going to push it to the right. In order to do that, that's why I have that firm grip. And so, it's supposed to basically counter it. And when I played in real life, I naturally had a draw. So in this case, though, I was too far back. My body was lined up perfectly with the ball. So when So when I say that my body was lined up perfectly with the ball through impact, so I'm coming down, but realistically, if I was perpendicular to my buckle, through impact, I swing my arms through, but my waist is still pointed here. So when you swing your arms through and you're still wanting to release afterwards, all you're doing is promoting an open face. Where realistically, when you're swinging down and you're down right here, my my waist is starting to open up towards the target. So when you watch a video and they're like, open your body up to the target, that's why. So you want to think about your waist and basically point it towards the target through impact and then swing through. So for those, and there's a lot of things that can happen for a slice. If you have a really open stance, so if my left foot's here, my right foot's here, and you're basically like you're leaning back, kind of like a reverse C kind of thing, and you're just wanting to kind of like swing up, and maybe you're trying to swing high. But realistically, back to what I said at the beginning of the video, it's all about the plane, and it's all about how the face is through impact. And if you catch yourself, with an open face, which is really easy to do, especially with the controller, because if you're swinging hard, I mean, you're thinking about how light that controller is. So you're swinging through and you're coming back and you don't have the weight of a real club to kind of help you, with the bottom of your swing. That's why you're slicing. So how do you counter it? So I'm going to swing, but I'm going to open my waist and my body through impact. And between that, so my upper body's up, my face is open, but now my waist is turned to the ball. So it's just a subtle change. All I'm doing is just moving my waist, like pretending to dance like Elvis, basically. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to do another cut again. And by doing that, I just realized too. So naturally, people call a fade a cut because what you're doing is you're cutting kind of like an axe or a sword on the ball, and that spin makes it go right. Well, let's see how that looked. All right, coming down, coming down, coming down. So you can tell my body's, I'm leaning. And I led with my hands the whole way, which, created that open face. And then, so I push it right. And then it has fade. So that's some things to think about. But just to recap on this, I mean, really it's pretty simple. Keep your elbow in. Whatever you do not come over the top. If you catch yourself going over the top, I mean, maybe you're too far away because you're reaching for it. Maybe you're too close and you're trying to just get under the ball and push it off to the right. So be careful of what your feet is to the ball. Just play around with it. I usually like to always put my driver right before the ball because you're thinking right now, my arms are at a huge angle to the club. So through impact, I extend and hit it where I want to. Drawback, this always kind of helps you, go inside out. If you pull it back too quickly, then your body kind of exaggerates and helps you do over the top, or you'll do this weird like whipping thing. So out, and then do your best to try to get the face up. Get to your normal swing. Bring your elbow in. Be behind the ball. Open up your waist to the target. Be your, was it? Totally threw me off. All right. So bring your elbow in, open your waist to the target, keep your arms angled, do not release your wrists before the ball, continue to open towards the target, swing through, and then bring your club up high. Hopefully that helps someone. And then watch where you're aiming, because I might have been aiming there too. Welcome to golf. And then let me just reset that really. Oh, fuck it, I'll do it later. All right, so I swear to God, I'm gonna unfriend you guys if you keep on inviting me. And then honestly, it's just the same with the iron. It could be a little bit different when you get to your lower irons, and I'll kind of explain that too. But the biggest thing with the 3-iron is, or any long iron, is you're not going to get as much spin as you would, it would, because in real life and hopefully in the game, there's that concave face, but it's just easier to, I don't know, have less errors, but still the same thing. You know, I have a firm grip on here, so when I address it, it's going to look closed, and then everything else is the same. Am I just aiming towards that sand the whole time now? But yeah, everything's still the same. 230 yards. All right, cool. If you come over the top, you know, it'll likely have a pole with a draw. If you open your body too much and you're leading with your hands too much, you know, at this case, you're kind of like flopping it. So you're pushing it. So same thing with the irons. I will say, if you're still watching this, and I always say if you're still watching this because I don't know how many people actually watch the whole fucking video. Each of the clubs are really different. I don't know why. Like, even if because I don't have any change of the spin or the club face on these. Except my driver when I do that. Okay, that used to switch the thing. But yeah, everything's all the same. But I can tell you exactly what each of the clubs will do. So, not counting the driver, because that's still a work in progress for me. But 3-wood is a fade. It's a high fade. Don't know why, but always will be. Unless I'm really swinging hard or I'm tired, then I can do a low draw. But 3-wood's a fade, 3-iron's a fade, 4-iron's a draw club. I have no idea why, but I feel like I really have to focus on my swing in order to hit it with fade. But it just seems like even then, like I tried to release my hands as late as possible to get kind of a fade on that one. But my 4-irons, okay, I'll go through them all right now. 3-wood, fade. 3-iron, fade. 4-iron, draw. 5-iron, fade. 6-iron, draw. 7-iron, draw. 6-iron is like the worst drawing club in my bag. 8-iron, draw. 9-iron, fade. Pitching wedge, gap, sand, and lob, they're all draws. And I could swing them all the same way, and that's just what happens. I will say though, when I get to my wedges, like my firm grip, it just seems like maybe it's because it's shorter, or maybe because I'm close to the ball, or because naturally, like when my hands are rest, but it will always be a closed face, so I just play the draw. If I go up a little bit to my 7-iron, you know, if I relax my hands, it just kind of looks like that. But yeah, closed face. I don't think my 3-iron's a closed face. A little bit. What else am I missing? Think about with your low irons. I mean, Still thinking about terrain and wind and, the lie. But think about how when you hit the ball, like right now, I'm missing the ball. Right now, I'm missing the ball. But I could step up like this high and still hit the ball. So me thinking that for the video game, because there's perfect connection all the time, well, there's supposed to be anyway, is that when you're swinging, like when the club registers at a certain speed, then this club it has like a huge invisible box like the size of a shovel, basically. So what does that mean for us? So if you catch yourself like me a lot of times where I don't bend, I don't feel the ground, I don't bend my knees, I stand taller a lot of times, and if I was in real life, I'd miss this ball 9 out of 10 times, or I top it like everyone else complains about in real life after playing this game. But what happens is, it's no longer a golf club. You look at the face and you think of a huge square, a huge flat square that goes along with the face. Why is this important? Because if you hit the ball like that, so think about, look at the club face and think about a huge box that's around it. And if I actually gave a shit, I'd come back and Photoshop it. But now, not only are you going to hit with a pitching wedge degree, but now you're also going to hit it with this, like, you're basically pretending that you're on an uphill lie and your ball's below the feet. So it's like the angle of the club. So you're not going to hit it like this. You're going to hit it like this. And so if you're like, why am I pulling? Well, you're hitting the ball way above, and the game's trying to compensate you doing that. And it's just going to assume that you want to draw, or not, it's not going to assume that, but, that's the result you get. So you think you're going to be hitting straight, which is going to be like this, but really, you're going to be hitting it like this because you're so much higher. So keep in mind that. Realistically, you definitely want to be, I got long arms, and these are 0 degree shafts, but realistically, you want to be upright to where the bottom of the club is flat. You want to bend your knees, and you want to, just try to be comfortable. So when you're trying to figure out your stance and things like that, just keep in mind that even though it's a pitching wedge and you're aiming towards the sand like apparently I do, the game is actually going to, give you more draw on your short irons and most of the clubs. So think about that. Lastly, if you made it to the end of the video, just comment on here and be like, this is my situation. I still can't do it. I'm still having issues. I need help. Just comment what your issues are, and I'll try to help you out the best I can. But number one rule, focus on 2 things. The angle of the face through impact, and then also 2, your swing plane. It's the only 2 things that matter as far as where the ball's going to go. Not counting distance, but like line and all that bullshit. So really focus on that. If you need to cheat the system, cheat the system. Like I said, if you come over the top, like all the time, so let's say I'm going to do an over the top. So I'm aiming that way. So my plane from an over top is aiming that way. So I'm going to aim that way. That felt really weird, but you get my logic on that one. Same as those people on the golf course who have a big ass slice and they aim like 20, 30, 40 yards off to the left. If that's what you need to do. And the cool thing about the game is it's really hard to slice with no wind. But if you need to do that, then just do that. But play whatever you can repetitively so you can actually, lean on it. I'm out of ideas. Hopefully that helps. Comment if you have any other questions, but I just want to kind of do my own breakdown of it. Rewind it. Just pay attention to your swing. Watch YouTube videos of actual professionals. They slow-mo that shit. They go into detail. Get an actual club and practice it. Don't do it with your controller or your adapter. Get an actual club so you can actually get the understanding of what you're doing. Yeah. Anyway, have a good day.